All right, I am Mr. Caldwell, and we are going to be going over the syllabus for English 11. Now, I don't have the document pulled up here, just some tech issues with that, but you have access to that in this same assignment in Google Classroom. If you're a parent or guardian and getting this and watching this, go to your kid, ask them to pull up English 11 Google Classroom. It's signed in. You can pull the document up and see everything that's in there that I'm talking through with this. Okay, if you are a transfer student, you can follow along with that as well to see what's going on for those things. All right. So a number of years ago, I came across a quote by Mark Wetmore, and he was the coach for the Colorado Buffaloes men's and women's cross-country teams. And he would always tell his runners at the beginning of each season, you be a young man or a young woman, so you be a young person of integrity, and I'll take care of the rest. In other words, do the right things. It's going to be okay. I'll worry about the details. So for English 11, be prepared. Do your work. Turn in your work. I'll make sure you have all the information that you need for that. Okay. So we're going to be going through the syllabus. I have it on the computer screen behind my Chromebook, so I'll be kind of looking up and over periodically as I scroll down through those things. All right. Now, the first thing is I have a list of things on there that are long-term skills, trying to develop them within this English class. I like to say that I don't teach English because I enjoy English. I didn't teach agriculture because I enjoyed teaching agriculture. I teach these things, yes, I enjoy them, but I teach these things because I'm selfish. The reality is many of the students that I teach are going to come back and live around me. Okay? And they're going to work in the industries that I work in. They are going to work at stores that I'm going to frequent. They may be friends with my kids. They may end up being neighbors. They may be part of organizations that I'm part of. I don't want to be surrounded by idiots. I'm kind of selfish that way, oddly enough, right? So I want to teach people how to process, how to think, how to be creative, how to be responsible. That's the citizens that I want to have around me. So it's my job as a teacher to use English, or when I taught agriculture, to use agriculture as a method to do those things. So students are going to learn critical thinking and problem-solving skills. They're going to learn about being effective writers and speakers. They're going to work on their time management and their organization skills, and we'll talk about how some of these things, as we go through the syllabus, work. Okay, they're going to work on self-motivation and personal responsibility. Okay? Collaboration and teamwork, information literacy and research skills, and trying to find good stuff to support you, being technologically proficient, okay, in there, being adaptable and being resilient, being able to analyze things and have skills for that, and understanding other people. Okay? So my classroom rules, pretty straightforward. First of all the CHS rules will be followed. You know, we're not making exceptions in here for that. Okay? Now, this syllabus may be updated as needed. If that happens, I will document it in the syllabus. I will send emails. I will talk about it in class. There will be very, very clear statements to everyone of something that's changed. It's not often that I have to do that, but sometimes something needs clarified or tweaked or something happens. Okay? It's not going to be a surprise. I don't like the idea of pop quizzes, pop tests, anything like that. So I'm not going to pop changes on you either for that. Okay? Now, when I was a student here at Connersville High School, I had this teacher that I really looked up to. His name was Mr. Judd. Yeah, he was the principal for a while now, but I had him as a teacher. And he would always tell us that he's human. Sometimes he would make mistakes in grading. If I make that mistake, come and talk to me. And that's one of the philosophies that I've adapted into my own teaching philosophy in there. If you think I made a grading mistake, if I forgot to give you a grade for a group project, if you're not sure why you got the score that you did, please talk to me. Okay? And if I make a mistake and it's going to help you, I will fix it. If it's going to hurt you, I'm probably not going to change it. For example, if you were supposed to get a 98 and I gave you an 89, okay? My mistake. I can see where the mistake was. I will fix it. I will move your grade up to where it should be. But if you were supposed to get an 89 and I gave you a 98, I'm probably going to leave it the same. Okay, that's my mistake. I'm not going to punish you for my mistake. Now, that being said, if you were supposed to get 100 on an assignment and I gave you 1,000, yeah, I'm going to change that. Right? That just seems pretty reasonable, I would think. But talk to me if you've got questions. Okay? I want you to use the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated, so with kindness and respect. Don't be touching other people's things. Don't be sleeping in class. Have good hygiene. That was actually a student-developed rule from a few years ago. And by the way, my classroom rules, for about 3 years, I used students at the beginning of each semester to create the classroom rules. And what I found is after 3 years, they were basically the same thing all 3 years. So really, these are almost completely student-created rules in that. Would I have done the same things? Yeah, probably. But these came from the students. So it's not just me arbitrarily throwing out and just pulling things out of the air for rules. People just like you as a student said this is important for us to do. So that's why I have these rules. Okay? Be prepared for class. Have your homework done. Make sure your Chromebook is charged. By the way, if you don't have a Chromebook, I have chargers all around the room. I can reach every seat within the classroom. And if we're in the lecture hall, we've got chargers. We've got outlets there that we can use as well. So an uncharged Chromebook, not an excuse. Not even close in there. Okay? So a big thing here is the class is designed to increase an individual student level of individual personal responsibility and challenge a student to think creatively and independently. Okay? So I will have deadlines in multiple formats. They're going to be posted in Google Classroom. You're going to see it in Power School. I send out classroom announcements every Monday. And it's going to be listed there, upcoming due dates. I'm going to mention them to you. You're not going to get surprised by stuff, but I expect you to pay attention and meet those deadlines. Okay? But communication is a two-way street. If you have questions, if you have concerns, talk to me. Okay? I like to say, if I don't know it's a problem, it's not my problem. Okay? If you've got an issue, you've got to come and talk to me about it, and let's figure it out. Let's figure out what that answer is. Okay? Now, at times there will be lots of work that come in all at once. Don't fall behind. Get those things done. If you're having struggles, talk to me. Let's figure out a plan to help you get through that, but don't just blow it off. Okay? I can tell you from experience that over the past several years, I've really looked at a trend of anybody who failed my English class. And every single student who's failed my English class did that because they didn't turn in work. Okay? It's not because they turned in F-level work. It's because they didn't turn it in. They refused to pass my class. If you don't give me stuff to grade, I can't grade it. Kind of simple as that, right? Okay, so get me stuff. Don't fall behind on things. Okay. I do allow food and drink in the classroom as long as any messes are cleaned up. If it becomes a problem, then it becomes a problem. So don't let it become a problem, right? Restroom use is allowed as long as it falls within the school rules and any restrictions that anybody may have. When we're doing group work, and there will be many times when there will be times for that, talk quietly and reasonably. Use your inside voice in there. If we have a lot of people talking and working, it gets kind of crazy at times. Okay? Don't throw things in class, so if you've got something to throw away, go to the trash can. Go to the recycling bin. I have them at the front and the back of the classroom. Okay? I was starting making some gestures, realized I was going to look like I was starting being on the airlines in there. So not going to do that. Don't mess with the fish in there. That'd be a problem. They've been around here for about 5 years now and grow there. My unexcused tardy policy. First offense is a verbal warning. I'm just going to tell you, hey, this was your first one. Okay, I'll document it. I will document it in Power School so that everybody knows I gave you a verbal warning. Second time is a written warning. I will get in contact with parents or guardians, whoever the contacts are in Power School, and let them know, hey, this was a second tardy. Okay, the next one, the third one, becomes a lunch detention, and after that, send you to admin to deal with. Okay. Fifth period, we have first lunch, and so you've got to be back here by the end of the at the start of that class. We'll talk about that the first couple of days of class to make sure we're all on the same page of what that's going to look like. Okay. And by the way, for me, tardy means that you were not in the door when the bell stops ringing. Okay, so if you're standing outside, dive. Okay? Get here quickly, and then get to your seat so we can get going with stuff. Right? When I start to do attendance, if you are not in your assigned seat, if you decide to go rogue and pick your own seat, I'm going to count you tardy. Okay? Unless you've got some special permission for that, you're not where you're supposed to be also. Okay? We will be following the school cell phone policy on that, and so make sure you're familiar with what all's going on that. We'll talk about that more within class. If you have questions, please ask for those things. My seating charts. Right now, the plan is that you will be allowed to choose your own seats the second day of class, and then after that, I will make any adjustments that need to. Now, depending on the number of students that are in class, I may direct, okay, you can only use these seats. We're going to move around a little bit. And if there's problems, then I will make the changes for that. And I'm probably going to move just about everybody if somebody has a problem. So, peer pressure. If you think that you can't sit next to your best friend and pay attention in class and work, maybe you shouldn't sit next to your best friend for this class period. If you see others who are having problems and they're starting to push the buttons and you can tell I'm getting close to not being happy, then maybe you need to talk to them and say, hey, back down, knock it off. Of us. Okay? If you come in or you transfer into my class after we've set seating charts, then you're going to have to take whatever openings we have available for that, and we'll work through what that looks like. Okay? I do have in the syllabus a relatively detailed plan of what we're going to be covering for the entire semester. You can see that I don't have all the assignments necessarily in there because sometimes pacing is a little bit off, and I'm trying some different methods of teaching this year that I've never done before. So we'll see how that goes, but you can see the direction of things that we're going to take all throughout the entire semester. Okay. I do give a little bit of opportunities for extra credit, but to me, extra credit is earned when you've done the work. Extra credit isn't some random thing to bring you up to passing. Okay? Extra credit is a reward for doing the right things. So I'll talk about IXL extra credit here in just a little bit. The other thing that I do is I give a missing assignments extra credit opportunity. And that's at the end of each quarter. I will count up the number of missing assignments that you have. If you have 0 missing assignments, you get 10 extra credit points. And for every missing assignment that you have, you will lose one of those points down until it gets to 0. I don't go to negative points. Okay? So at the end of each quarter, if you've got everything turned in, and I do take late work, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, if you got everything turned in, you can get 10 extra credit points. That could be handy. Okay. Spartan tickets. I give those out based on special circumstances when things happen. It's just kind of random stuff. But also, for anybody who participates in any of the spirit or dress-up days, you will get a Spartan ticket for that. Okay. All right. My late work policies. Important to understand. Okay. And I break this out into a separate video to make sure we're all on the same page for that. But I'm going to talk about it here because it fits in the whole syllabus. Okay. Assignments, basically if you turn it in on time, you get to earn whatever you earn. Okay. Almost everything I do is done through Google Classroom, so it's time stamped, and so I know exactly when things are done. If it's late, the instant it's late for the first week, 65% is the best that you can earn, a D. But it's better than a 0. So turn it in. Hit the submit button. Okay. From 1 week to 2 weeks in there, that second week that it's late, 60% is the best that you can earn. And then after 2 weeks until the end of the grading period, 50%. You can still earn half the points possible. It's better than a 0. Don't just give up and quit on your grade. Turn things in. Okay. Now, once the grading period ends, and to me that is when the bell rings at 3:30, the last day of the grading period's over. School's out, grading period's done. but I will take late work up until that point. Okay, you can turn those things in. Okay, so that's assignments. Book projects, it'll drop there. IXLs, you'll either lose 2 points and no extra credit opportunity for the first week, 3 points, no extra credit if it's the second week, and after that you'll lose 4 points and no extra credit. Okay, media center visits, they drop down as well percentage-wise for those things. Okay, all right. By the way, if you are absent on any day that we're doing an assignment, I'm going to go ahead and mark it in PowerSchool as a 0, missing, and absent. That absent thing tells me that the student is able to make that up for full credit. Okay, as long as it's in a reasonable time that we allow for those things. Okay? But it also tells the student, hey, here's where I'm at. And so you know exactly where you stand on things. Okay? Book projects, there's one due each quarter. I explained those in a separate video, so I'm not going to go into details on those for that. Okay, but look those things up. Okay, media center visits, we're going to go to the media center about every 2.5 weeks, and that allows students a few extra days if they forget a book that they can get it back in without it being late. And then we have an assignment that'll come with that, where you are going to tell me in the private comments what you did while we were up there that day. Just an accountability thing for that. Okay? Reading logs. We will do silent reading at the start of almost every class. Okay? There will be some exceptions where we need to get some things done, or 2-hour delays, things like that, where I make changes on it. But I will hand out a piece of paper. Well, excuse me. We'll start class. I'll tell you, pull out what you're reading. You're going to read for about 10 minutes, and then I'll say, okay, and I pass out the piece of paper, and you're going to fill the log out. It has the title, the start page, the end page on it, and then at the end of the week, you're going to tell me what you read about for that week. You get some points for just reading and getting that done. The reason I do that is because I know that many students have jobs, they have things at home to work on, they've got siblings to take care of, family members to take care of, they have sports practices or play practice or whatever that may be going on after school, and it's hard to get everything done. And you've got homework to work on. And by the way, I try not to give homework in my class. We try and work on in class so I can answer questions and freeze things up a little bit. But you've got homework for other classes, and you've got a book project that you're doing for me when you need to get the book read. So I'm going to give you approximately 50 minutes a week to be able to read your book, as well as whatever you do on your own. Okay? So that's an option there. So those are the reading logs, and I'll grade those each week. I have a weekly check-in that posts each Monday, due Friday at midnight in there. It is completely optional. It's just to tell me how things are going for you, if you got anything cool, if you got anything stressful, just so I can keep in contact with you and know if there's anything I need to be knowing about or worried about for you, or concerned or proud of, or whatever that may be. But it is completely optional. You don't have to do it. It has nothing to do with your grade. If you do all of them, it doesn't help your grade. If you do none of them, it doesn't hurt your grade. It is optional. Okay? Right. And by the way, I do have what I call my emotional support stuffed animals that are here in the room. It goes along with that check-in idea. So I've got, let's see, I've got a skunk, a goldfish, a bear, a caterpillar, there's a couple of cows. I think that's all I've got right now. But if you're having a bad day, and it's just, you just can't that day, but you've got to be here, grab one of those. You can hold on to it. You still have to pay attention in class, but I'm not going to call on you. I will check in with you and see how you're doing, if there's anything I can do to help. Okay, but I've had students too come and grab it, and they need it for the day. I've had past students come back and grab one because they're just having a bad day for whatever that is, whether that's family members who are sick or passed away, pets having health issues, breaking up with their significant other, stress from tests. I had one student who took the emotional support cow with her to go give blood because she was so worried about it. Okay, so that support is there for you as well to know what's going on. All right, IXLs are next. IXLs are assigned to be due about every 2 weeks. It's pretty consistent. I've got a couple there that are a little tighter just because of how breaks fall with things. But all of my IXLs are already posted in Google Classroom. Okay? I had them posted a few weeks before school started. They're all in Google Classroom. They're all in PowerSchool. And it'll say IXL A1, and it'll have the dates that it's due. Okay? And it'll have the time spread on there, and it is your responsibility to have it done by that time. I am not giving you time in class to work on those. That is the one thing that becomes like a homework type of thing, where you're going to have to do that on your own, or maybe during impact. Just a thought in there. Okay, but students, it's going to be an interesting thing. 80% mastery is the goal. Once you've got whatever you want to have as your finished score, whether that's a 70 or whether it's 100, whatever that may be, students are take a screen capture of that score and attach it to the assignment and hit submit. That's the completion of that grade for it. Okay? I will then go to that assignment that they've turned in and take the score that you have given me, and that's going to go get converted and go into the grade book. I am not going into IXL and hunting all your grades down. You are going to be responsible to tell me what your score is. Now, I talked earlier about the late work, where you couldn't get some of the extra credit, you would lose some points, but here's how the math is going to work. I'm going to move the decimal over 1 and double it for the most part. Okay, so anything 80 and below, I'm going to double. So an 80% becomes an 8, doubles, you get a 16 out of 16. A 75%, 7.5, doubles, you get a 15 out of 16. Anything over the 80% is extra credit, and I will add that decimal on. So if you get an 85%, the 80 doubles, and you get a 16.5 out of 16. So getting 100% on an IXL allows you to have 2 extra credit points for each time. Okay, so there is a chance to earn some extra credit and be rewarded for going beyond that 80% mastery, which is the goal that we're going to get. Okay? So again, turn that in on time, make sure you get it, but turn that into me. I'm not going hunting, I'm not taking emails, you have to attach it to the assignment. Okay? All right, working in the hallways, there may be some times for that, we'll see. Some of that's going to be dependent on how well that individual student's doing in class, as far as things that are turned in, behavior issues, things like that. Do they get rewarded, be able to work in a slightly different but still supervised location or not? Excuse me. Students may be helping out with some stuff with the Elliott Rosewater Book Selection Awards. I'm on the State Library Federation's committee to choose those, and so I'm always looking for student feedback. We'll see how some stuff goes with that's in there. Plagiarism. I'm going to briefly talk about this. I have a breakout video specifically talking about plagiarism and AI use in there, so you can look at that for more details. I'm trying to take up as little time as possible here, but still get in depth as much as I can. So you can get outside assistance. I encourage you to ask for help if you need it, but you have to give credit where credit is due. Okay? So if you've written at one level and all of a sudden it comes a higher level, I'm going to know somebody wrote this for you or helped you do this thing. So be honest about those things. Okay? And there are punishments that go along with that. I do allow the use of generative AI to get ideas. Not writing your paper, not doing any of that stuff. But again, the AI plagiarism, that's a separate video. They go into detail in that. During class, I will go into details on this, but I'm not in this video. Make sure you read that section, watch that video. Be informative, and you get a grade for it as well. Okay. All right. When am I available for extra help? Before school, I'm normally here around 7 o'clock in the morning, so we can work on that. During my prep period, which this semester is 4th period in there, during impact, if you're going to work for that, talk about that. After school, a lot of times I'm here till around 4:30 or so. It depends on the day. Okay, but some of that could be dependent on other things, because I coach the speech and debate team, I coach the English academic team, so don't just assume that I'm going to be available at those times. Check with me, talk to me, email me, whatever that is. Let's figure out a time we can work together. Okay? I have writing Wednesday in my syllabus, but that's not going to come until 2nd semester, so we're not going to talk about it. I just keep it in the syllabus as an awareness, and I don't have to make major changes. I have a summary in there of the books that we're going to go through in class. So in the fall semester, we're going to go through the Crucible in there. Then we do Lord of the Flies and Night in the spring. Okay? So that's the syllabus for English 11 for the fall 2025 semester for Mr. Caldwell's class. Again, if you have questions, please contact me. and send me an email. Let's talk and figure out how I can answer those things. If you have concerns, let's talk about those things and work through that. Looking forward to having a great semester, but remember, the key to the entire semester is going to be turn things in. That's the motto to live by.